the stories, the journey, the wild behind the scenes, and much more. I'm Dave Anthony, and I'm the host of From Garage to Stadiums. But they come together, and really, at first get together, the music sends a message to the four of them that they're onto something.
Yes, because they each brought so much and such different qualities to this band. The guys from the Midlands were bringing a loud, thumping kind of music. They had grown up in a community where there were active bands there playing loudly. In the Midlands had bands like the M&Bs, which became the Moody Blues, the Spencer Davis Group, the Move, Denny Lane. And so they brought this kind of loud thumping quality. Jimmy and John Paul brought a kind of refined English electric blues that Jimmy had been playing with the Yardbirds and Jeff Beck. And John Baldwin, John Paul Jonesy, brought an even more refined aspect to it. And the four of them together in that room where they first met found something that was unique to all of them. Their voices melded, their styles melded, and it was pretty remarkable.
It's an incredible story that two guys playing on all these famous albums essentially hook up with two guys who play in bars.
Right, exactly. They played in pubs. That's where there was a circuit of pubs, and each pub had two rooms, one where you drank and one where you could play music, which was great.
So we're going to fast forward a little bit. They put out their first album, which we're going to play a sampling of a few songs. But the tour, the first U.S. tour, kind of comes even before the album is officially out, and that's around Christmas 1968. Right. Tell us about the buzz that surrounded that first tour as people in the U.S. started to be exposed to this incredible new sound.
Well, they were very lucky because they got to the U.S. just as FM radio was exploding. And because of that, there were more in-tuned college kids who would become disc jockeys on these radio stations. And so they would listen in advance to the new albums that were coming out. And Peter Grant, the manager of the New Yardbirds, as they were called at the time, had supplied all these radio stations with test pressings of this new album that didn't even have the name Led Zeppelin on yet. They were still being booked in the United States as the New Yardbirds. But he made sure these progressive stations got them. And so they would play these records on a Thursday night, on a Saturday, or on a Friday and Saturday when a group like Led Zeppelin had just gotten to a club in, let's say, Boston or Cleveland or Phoenix. There would be lines outside the door because the kids had heard these on the FM station and they wanted to check out the band live. So Led Zep had a really good step on their career by the fact that FM radio had broken just about this time.
Imagine hearing bits of these tunes in small clubs in a U.S. city. This is not your typical bar band with songs like Good Times, Bad Times, Babe, I'm Gonna Leave, Communication Breakdown, and Dazed and Confused. Bob opens his book with a fascinating story about that one of the gigs on that tour, and I believe it was in Boston. And someone in the audience talks about how floored they were by the music, and it turns out to be Steven Tyler, who went on to form Aerosmith, just blown through the doors by this new music he was hearing.
Yeah, Steven had hitchhiked from New York. One of his friends humped the equipment for Zep, and he got him into the gig in Boston. And Tyler told me that he cried when he heard them. He just couldn't believe it.
Wow. And these are smaller clubs they're playing at this point. Obviously, these are like 100 seat, 200 seat kind of gigs.